Almost 3 weeks ago, I made a video titled Yu-Gi-Oh! Clickbait, and at the end of that video, I asked anyone that stayed long enough to watch the whole thing to please leave their clickbait titles about Yu-Gi-Oh! In the comment section, and I got so many responses. So what I decided to do, and what I'm going to do going forward, because I did not get to all of them, I am going to go through during a live stream, like the one that you're watching right now. Well, this is a sped up version. And I'm going to make those thumbnails. Now, that was my goal all along, but I didn't think I would get nearly as many responses as I actually did. So you can see the first one here is titled, Spirals Get Bodied by Neospace with this one unknown tech card. You won't believe what happens. Now, I didn't use Neospace in the thumbnail because I think that Neospatian Air Hummingbird is funnier, and you will also notice that I actually I blur out the effect on this thing so no one could realize that I was lying all along, because obviously Neospatian Air Hummingbird is not going to win you any spiral matchups because it doesn't really do anything besides gain life points, and that's not enough to win a game. But these were so much fun to make, I'm going to be completely honest. It was a lot of fun to sort of get the feedback from the chat as I was making these live. I got some suggestions that I ended up putting into the actual thumbnails. But overall, I think that this opens up an interesting discussion about how clickbait works in the Yugi-tubing world. Now, I talked about this a lot in that original video, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Clickbait video, but I want to mention it again because I do feel like it's important to talk about. These types of thumbnails don't really work in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot of different reasons for that, but I do want to say that in actual YouTube, because I don't really count, I mean, I count Yugi-tubing as actual YouTube, but a lot of the times we're not following the same trends as YouTube as a whole. And I want to say that for actual YouTube, thumbnails like this are extremely popular. Now, the closest thing we really have to that in the sort of Yugi-tubing world is people that do sort of open mouth faces in the thumbnails of like pack openings to show that it's a great pack opening. But as far as that goes, I mean, that's only a very small amount of channels, and the ones that are doing it while they are successful, it hasn't really crept up to all the channels. And you can see here, I'm going to show you the finished thumbnail sort of on the whole screen. This one I was particularly proud of. I always like adding the emoji. I think it adds a really unique twist to thumbnails. You don't see a lot of emojis in Yugi-tubing thumbnails either, and I think that's good. I think that overall it is actually a very, very good thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! At least is not completely overridden with these clickbait thumbnails. Now, absolutely, there are going to be a lot of YouTubers or Yugi-tubers that use all caps in their titles, or make wide claims. It may or may not be true. The one in this thumbnail is Magical Musketeer 0. A lot of people thought Magical Musketeers would be very, very good, but they ended up, I mean, they ended up failing tremendously, right? Because they didn't top YCS San Diego at all. I don't believe they topped the European YCS that happened shortly after. There's been a couple regional tops, but it's not nearly as good as a lot of people were hyping it up to be, which I think makes this particular title even funnier. And you can see that I brought in my good friend Davinator for this one. This seemed like a video he would make to me. I don't know why. Just when I read this title, I was like, yep, Dave would probably make this title, so I put him in there. Don't ask why I had the PNG for his cutout there. I just have it. You don't need to know why. But this was fun, and it was educational as well, I think, just because these aren't really the types of thumbnails that I make. Sure, I have some ambiguous titles, and to some people, oh, this is a great mustache on him. That really completes the picture. Someone was really begging for that in chat, by the way, but so I figured I'd put it on there. But anyway, yeah, I don't really make these thumbnails. I do sort of have ambiguous titles every once in a while, and I'm sure I'll put some garbage clickbait title on this only for the sake of the old video is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Clickbait, so I can't just also call this one Yu-Gi-Oh! Clickbait. But make sure to go check out that original video as well, especially if you would like to have your comment sort of featured in a future episode of this. I suppose I can make the claim that I will check this video as well, but there were honestly so many on that other video, the older one, that I didn't get to, that I want to get to. that I don't think I'll check this one until I've completed the ones on that one that I wanted to. Also, man, that Hearthstone was just a beautiful addition to this particular piece. Really clickbaiting people there to say, hey, isn't Magical Musketeer a Yu-Gi-Oh archetype? And then they see that it says Hearthstone, and they get all confused, and they click on it. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I did think about putting the hand on his hand. The problem is that it's the wrong side, so it would have looked really weird. So I ended up not going to that. But the finished product truly does look remarkable, if I do say so myself. I think Dave could easily use this as one of his actual thumbnails, and I think people would just absolutely adore it. And by the way, Dave, if you want the file, well, I already sent it to him. So I think we should see that on a video very shortly, if he wants to get those clicks. For this one, which is titled, Will Allies of Justice Be Top Tier This Format? I actually use Gage's picture. Now, that he doesn't put this little avatar guy on his videos anymore, presumably because it has the PPG logo, and he is not part of that team anymore. RIP sponsorships. But this seemed like a video that he would do. He's had some good video topics actually over the past couple days here. I always make fun of him for not posting daily, because he always says he's going to post daily, but actually over the past week he has posted every single day. So if you have not seen his channel, it is Nim. He was pretty big like a couple years back, and then he just sort of stopped posting, but he's really had a huge amount of growth in the past week just because he's posted daily content. Also, his thumbnails are like absolutely incredible. I should mention that I really adore the check mark and the X mark. I used those on a thumbnail a long time ago, and I thought it worked perfectly for this one. And I really tried hard to find the absolute worst Ally of Justice monster that you would never ever play in something to make this thumbnail even better, because then it gets you thinking, how is this card good? What is it good against? Why is this now better than Spirals? That's the perfect clickbait title. But yeah, make sure to make fun of Gage for not being on PPG, and also check out his channel. And then what does the finished product look like? It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's a thumbnail that I would use every day if I could, but that's not really good for growth. But it is a masterpiece, if I do say so myself. Now this next one, oh man, this one could have gone a lot of really terrible ways, but I tried to go in the safest way possible, and that is called Got Scammed Out of $400. High school girls beware. Now, there were some claims that I should have made this maybe with some actual high school girls in the picture here, but that's how you go to jail, and also it's really creepy. So we just went with this nice flowery background, which I think for the most part gets the job done. Maybe I could have gone hardcore, but I think for me, my favorite part of this, and actually the last edition that you'll see added here, was the how can I relate the $400 to Yu-Gi-Oh! And what I came up with was these Fortress Whales, because I love Fortress Whale. I wanted to make a video where I buy Fortress Whale for a really long time, but I can't bring myself to do it, even for the memes. Now, I'll do a lot for the memes. I'll play with a really bad set of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sleeves at an entire regional. Also, that was like the grossest looking circle ever, so I had to get rid of it. But I'm all for buying things for the memes. And but Fortress Whale, you know, every time I put it into my eBay cart, I can't bring myself to check out, probably because spending $200 on a card that you will never ever play, and that isn't really like a good collector's item. I mean, it's a cool old super rare from tournament pack or champion pack or whatever, but it's not really worth $200. I mean, no one's gonna run this, and while it is cool looking, it's not like the best card. There's like more useful tournament pack and champion pack supers. For example, there's like Book of Moon or Bottomless Trap Hole, although those cards have kind of fallen out of favor, but even those cards are arguably more useful than Fortress Whale. And then we have our very last one, and this is a doozy. Yu-Gi-Oh! Player traded house for cards. True story. Now, you know it's going to be clickbait if it says true story in the title. That is like the dead giveaway. Or if it says not clickbait, which implies that their channel clickbaits so much that they have to clarify when they're not putting clickbait, which I think is hilarious in and of itself. Now, when I see a word like house, who else can I put in this thumbnail besides the House of Champs? John just fits perfectly in this. I also had this face of him loaded on my computer already. Might as well put that in there. And then the topical choice for the cards that you would trade for a house are evenly matched. Some people suggested I put Simo in the background of the house, like that's who he traded the cards to, but I think that that sort of ruins the integrity of the piece, because a good clickbait title doesn't have too many different things going on. You're only going to have, you know, like the background, the subject, which in this case is John, and then the sort of the object of what's actually like the clickbait part of it. In this case, it's the evenly matches. But that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I didn't really know what I was going to talk about, so I just kind of talked about my process through it. If you want to see more of these, please make sure to let me know in the comments below. And also feel free to come out to the future live streams that I'm going to do with these thumbnails. But anyway, we'll get one last really good look at the thumbnail here, and then I will see you guys later. Bye.